Hello there, my name is Dan, and the main purpose of my channel is to show people how to grow their own fruit and vegetables, no matter what size garden, allotment or growing space they do indeed have, or the amount of time they have available to put into their gardening. So if you like my work, please feel free to like and share, and if you'd like to be notified of any further videos I put up, please feel free to subscribe and click the bell icon. And today I'm going to be making a video on UK grown ginger and the harvest. This is part of a 3-video series on growing ginger in the UK, so I'll link the other 2 videos down below in the description box, and you can check those out if indeed you wish to. Let's harvest some ginger. Oh yeah, smell that. Right, so I'll tip them out here. Right, let's slowly and carefully remove this growing medium. Yeah, it's certainly looking substantial, isn't it? Going to wash this off and cut off some of the stems. Well, that's the original ginger root rhizome, if I am correct, and you can see all this growth that's come off of it. More than double the original rhizome, and I am happy with that yield. Now that we've harvested it, we will talk a little bit about ginger. The Romans were very fond of ginger, as were the ancient Greeks, and ginger's been imported into Europe since the Middle Ages, and as of 2018, 2.8 million tonnes yearly of ginger are produced, with 32% of that being produced in India, so certainly a lot of ginger is produced in the world. So many uses for ginger in food and drink, so you can put it in curries, stir-fries, soups. As a dessert it can go in gingerbread cake, gingerbread cookies, gingerbread men. You can make drinks out of it, ginger beer, ginger wine, ginger tea. Such a versatile spice to grow. Ginger is said to have numerous health benefits, such as reducing inflammation, so could potentially be good for those who have arthritis. It's said to also lower blood sugar. It's said to offer some protection against Alzheimer's disease and act as an anti-nausea. Also to have benefits in fighting infections. I will leave it up to you, however, to do your own research on the potential benefits of ginger and whether it is right for you. You're not to take my say-so on this subject, but there's a wide area of reading and information available, so check that out. Now time for a little bit about growing ginger. Ginger likes a temperature of between 20 degrees C to 30 degrees C, so that's about 68 degrees Fahrenheit until around 86 degrees Fahrenheit. Now there will be some leeway either side of that. For example, some days here in the summer in this polytunnel it went up to over 40 degrees C, which is around 104 degrees Fahrenheit, and you can see the ginger still grew well. It likes to grow in a pH of about 5.5 to 6.5. It likes a rich, well-draining growing medium, okay? It will not like to sit in waterlogged growing medium. So, plenty of things like vermiculite, perlite in there. You could also consider some horticultural grit to help with the drainage. If growing more than one rhizome, you want them about 8 inches apart, which is around 20 centimetres. So if you're growing them in the open ground, that distance, and also if you're growing them in a pot, that distance apart as well. Regarding pot size, the ginger grew very well in this pot here, but if you wanted to make extra sure, you could grow it in a pot about a foot wide, so 12 inches 30 centimetres and a foot deep. This pot here on the left, for example. Ginger doesn't need to be planted deep, so about 1 to 2 inches, which is about 2.5 to 4 or 5 centimetres deep. It has been advised that when the rhizome starts to come through the growing medium that a mulch is applied, so something like straw or leaf mould, to stop the direct sunlight getting to the rhizome, because it's said that this can actually turn it green. Now, I didn't do that, and you saw that this rhizome here did not turn green, but that could be a good tip to think about. Make sure that your pot has holes in the bottom, such as this, to aid with the drainage. Regarding feeding, I think I fed this early on with liquid seaweed, but I certainly didn't do it in the later stages of the growth of this plant, so there we are. But what you could use is use something like liquid seaweed once a month if you want to make sure it's properly fed. Don't overfeed it, but get it right, and it could help you get higher yields. With regard to feeding, it could be said to not use a fertiliser too high in nitrogen, because this can contribute very much to the leafy growth and at the expense of the rhizome growth, and the majority of you will be going for the bigger rhizomes, so take that into consideration. Watering. Now, ginger does not like to sit in overly wet, clogged growing medium, so when you're starting the rhizome off, water it, but regularly check it to make sure that it's very close to dry before you water it again, okay? As it grows, it will uptake more water, and of course, if it's in a warm place, such as in a polytunnel or greenhouse, as the spring and summer arrive, then it will proceed to uptake more water. But don't water it too often so that it's overly soggy. Just check it out regularly. If it needs some, give it some, but don't be afraid to leave it. Ginger will not tolerate poor draining soil or overwatering. Water with rainwater if possible. With regards to growing ginger, sandy loam soil is excellent, but if you don't have that, you could purchase a ready-made compost, or you could make your own. For example, you could get your compost from your own compost bin, or you could have some leaf mould mixed with a little bit of that compost, as long as it's well draining. So with that, add some perlite and you should have a good growing medium. Regarding sandy loam, the soil here is indeed that, and therefore it is very well draining. So next year I may consider growing ginger in the actual ground here in the polytunnel itself. Ginger needs around an 8, 9 or even 10 month growing period, so living here in the UK or indeed similar climates, this can be an issue, so using microclimates is very important. Now, I started this rhizome off in a pot on a south facing windowsill in March, and what I did was kept it there till around mid to late May, and then I put it out here in the polytunnel. Now, we did have an early spring and very warm periods during the summer, which helped. So I managed to give it a nice growing space from March until now, and that's benefited very much to this growth. So what you need to do is try and keep the temperature as even as possible. So if you're living in a climate with a shorter growing season than here, maybe somewhere in Canada, something like that, you may consider leaving it on your windowsill a little bit longer. Now, with regards to consistency of temperature, you want to keep it between 20 and 30 degrees C, 68 to 86 degrees Fahrenheit, as close as possible to that, even during the night if you can. So one issue of growing on a windowsill, of course, is the cold air between the curtain and the window. So if you can avoid that, that would be good. Maybe grow it behind a cloudy window where there's not a curtain, so you avoid that void of cold air. Now the question, could ginger be grown outside here in the UK and similar climates? Now I am tempted to try it. So here in the southeast we do tend to get some of the warmer summers here in the UK, so that is a good start. Now if I was going to grow ginger outside, certainly a good microclimate would be essential. So south facing wall or fence area, maybe up against one of those where the wall or the fence would radiate heat out, could be quite a benefit. Maybe some dark covering on the ground to help keep the rhizome warm could be a good idea. And of course, if there is excessive rainfall, which could potentially happen, that could be an issue. But I am tempted to give it a go next year. And the way I would do that would be to start the rhizomes off inside around March time, and then end of May, after the risk of frost has passed, then put them into the ground and see what happens from there. But I'm expecting to have a go at growing them here in the polytunnel, and the extra protection that this polytunnel should provide will help with that. One could take the microclimate principle to the next level, and what one could do is choose a black pot and then wrap that pot in something like bubble wrap or fleece, and that will then add to the insulation value. Now also, if someone doesn't have a polytunnel or a greenhouse but would still like to have a go at growing ginger, a cold frame could be used. Now, of course, a cold frame generally has a top, but depending on the design, whether it's one designed, similar to this polytunnel but a much smaller version, then one could unzip it and flap it back so the plant can grow out the top. Or if it's a glass one or a perspex one can maybe fold it back and so the plant can still grow out the top. Basically, you want the rhizome to stay warm, and it will benefit from that microclimate as well. I'm also considering growing ginger in these polystyrene containers here for the extra warmth that could provide to the growing rhizomes and help with the microclimate. Okay, so there we are, how to grow ginger in the UK and cold climates. I'll let you have one more look at the yield there. That's the original, and that's what's come from it. Not bad, eh? If you like my work, please feel free to like, share and subscribe, and you can always check me out on Dan_Home Gardens on Instagram if indeed you're interested. Thank you for viewing. See you next time.